Chase, would you rather smash the hottest trans woman in the world or the oldest woman in the world? Honestly, bro, the oldest woman in the world, because then I wouldn't be gay.
What? You really just want me to just rip you a fucking new one. I swear to God.
Are you like, Chase, how dare you be transphobic?
Yes, actually. What the fuck do you mean? Yes, that was so
Because if I had
unnecessary.
sex with a trans woman, I'd be having sex with a biological man, and I don't want to do that.
The question is,
That's not what you said, though. That's fine. If that's
Because
what you
I'd
want to
be
say.
gay if I had sex
That's
with a
not
biological
gay.
man.
That's not gay.
That's
And
gay.
I don't even care if you're doing this for like whatever, but like shut the fuck up, actually.
I'm doing
You
it
look
for
like you have a
what-
little
Hey,
bit
why-
of
why
respect
don't-
his
why don't-
street
That's too far.
identity.
That's
Why
too
don't
fucking
you? Why don't
far.
you make me
That's
shut
too
the fuck up? Because I have an opinion that differs from yours.
Today, we have a debate going on about various sections of society, including the trans scene, as you can see in the video how the panel responds to a question that asks the guys if would they rather sleep with the oldest woman in the world or the hottest trans woman in the world. To which the guys reply that they'd rather sleep with the oldest woman in the world, triggering the girls on the panel who can't get over the guys' reply. The guys justify this from a personal preference point of view that being straight, they'd rather sleep with someone who's also straight and not considered mixed gender, which would effectively make anyone who sleeps with them as people who like other people from the same gender. The girl who gets the most triggered on the panel accuses the guy hosting the podcast that he's transphobic for saying that. The whole scenario regarding genders and their roles has become increasingly confusing in our society. Men and women used to have defined roles based on their natural tendencies. That changed when feminism came full circle in society and inculcated the idea of females taking over generally male-dominated positions and roles in society. I'm not advocating for women to not have those roles. I'm just commenting on the fact that in the last 5 decades, the roles have changed a lot and given rise to new concepts and ideologies. And the way feminism burst through the scene with its concept that anything anyone says against women's empowerment and call for social equality and equity is a bigot, we can see the same thing now happening with the trans scene, with people not completely accepting them being referred to as transphobic. It's a great way to make sure whatever ideology you're promoting, you can get away with it by name-calling other people, calling them insecure, bigots, and misogynists. Feminists tell men what they want from them, but they typically complain when we provide it to them precisely how they want it. The ability for males to make their own decisions should excite feminists who advocate gender equality, according to theory. It's similar to a bunch of males that treat women with the same level of disdain that men are frequently shown by women. But regrettably, they opt for results rather than exceptionally high accountability. The only way to ensure a high-quality outcome is to acquire the heart and mentality of a man who works harder than they do and provides for them throughout his life. This is the reason I believe that current feminism has mostly lied to women. Modern feminism has stripped women of their meaning and purpose and replaced them with a new one that will only make them unhappy. You simply need to look at the women in your community or online to understand what I mean. Feminism is to blame for how sad women are. They believe they are a part of some admirable movement that frees them from their concerns, but in reality, it merely takes their worth. I was recently reading a study that said women who enter the marriage as virgins, which is now a rarity, are the least likely to divorce. Women with 10 or more partners are the most likely to divorce, but this only became true in recent years, the study said. This only goes to show that the more women sleep around, the more they're likely to lose any sense of loyalty and future stability when it comes to relationships. On top of that, no man truly wants to be with a woman who has a high body count. It's like Psychology 101. The more you have of something, the less you eventually want it. The less desire you will have for it, and it will only decrease the more value or charm it has for you. Relationships are like that. I've seen countless videos online where women are crying because they've slept with so many men. They just don't know what to do with their lives. I've said this many times before, and I'll say this again and again. Men were meant to provide and protect and spread their seed in order to build and populate. Women were meant to care and nurture, provide warmth, and raise children with their men. Both have their own qualities and reasons. It's only the woke female narrative that has made women believe that they're lesser beings if they're not doing everything a man can do. You don't see men crying about how they don't have the ability to give birth. You don't see men saying they would like to raise children while women bring in the money and resources and the protection. So, why is there such an outcry when a man has his own perspective and speaks his mind like what we saw in the video at the beginning of this clip? You see, people who create new ideologies such as feminism do it with the thought that people would readily accept everything there is about it. And as we all know, that's not how it happened for feminism as well. It took 3 to 4 waves of feminism for it to able to permeate through the ranks and roles of society. Even then, we also saw an extreme form of feminism that bordered on being an anti-male movement that hated men and their roles in society, and that called for their oppression and persecution just because would could after they had the full force and might of the government, the justice system, media, academia, and corporations behind it. I see the same thing happening with the new gender roles at play today. If you are not 100% accepting of trans women, which includes being with them, then you're going to be labeled as a bigot or an extremist. I see the same reality for trans women as I saw for feminism, which ultimately came true. Feminism gave women encouragement and empowered them to start living their lives in such a way that they wouldn't need the help of a man. It taught them that they could be financially independent if they made the choice to study and climb the corporate ladder. It taught them that they could also provide for their families and make money to raise children, even if they didn't have men in their lives anymore. It enabled them to think that they could live their lives without families, without having children, and be who they wanted to be, without having to worry about their biological need to have children and raise them. Over time, what happened was that more and more women chased their corporate dreams, thought that they could take over men's role in society, and practically waste away their fertile and prime years in either pursuing a career or chasing the stereotypical bad boys. But soon enough, when these women got to their 30s and above, they started realizing that with every passing year, it was becoming harder and harder for them to become pregnant, and so started their change in mindset and realization that life wasn't just about becoming wealthy or believing in the extreme forms of feminism that make these women think they can live their lives without men or without having families and adhering to their natural feminine tendencies. They also began to realize that men of their age prefer younger women and began to wonder why they were being ignored by men. This is exactly how it seems like it will unfold for the trans community. With more and more acceptance in mainstream society, trans women are going to be fed the narrative that they don't need anyone else, especially men, to get anything done in society. Just like for women, the government is going to instate laws that will require corporations to have trans women as board members and as CEOs of large corporations. Eventually, a whole generation of trans women going to lead their lives, especially in their 20s and 30s, chasing the corporate dream and climbing the corporate ladders, only to realize in their 40s that they have no meaning and purpose other than to make money and lead businesses. They will realize that no one will want to date them at that age, and no one will be able to make families with them and settle down. When that time comes, we will see a whole generation of trans women realizing that maybe they should have worked on finding true meaning and purpose in their 20s, instead of living an anti-male life that was supported by the same group in society that blindly promoted an extreme woke form of feminism. Time will tell, but this is what I predict is about to happen in the next decade, and it will happen fast. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Always grateful for your love and support.